Hello, welcome to my studio. This is Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, and I have some great news today. I was chosen for the month of August to be Oriental Stamp Art's Stamp Artist of the Month. So I decided to come up with a fun project that everyone can do here, and hopefully will be a useful one. Today we're going to make a stationery box, and this is my prototype here. It's just a simple box. On the inside you have a place where you can put envelopes and cards, and here you have a place for pens, glue sticks, stamps, any other miscellaneous things you would need. And here I have a pattern paper lid that goes on top. And of course this is a prototype, so the project gets better as you go. At first I had made a cardstock top, but it covered everything, and I thought it'd be pretty to have two different contrasting papers, and that's what we're going to do today. And so let's get to it. We're going to use a scor-pal, and I'm going to take the score mat out because I want the scoring board right now. And we're going to use an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I'm going to score it 1 inch on all sides. So I'm scoring it at 1. I want a nice good score, so I'm going to go twice over. I'm scoring it at 7.5 because we have 1 inch from each edge. I'm going to turn it and score it at 1. This is really thick paper, so I'm giving it a couple good scores, and also at 10. Now to make the divider in the box, I'm going to score it at 5.5, 6.5, and 7.5. I'm going to put my mat back in because I want to use my X-Acto knife to make a couple snips. I'll do the scissors for most of it, but there's a couple spots here I want to cut with my knife, and I'll have a template that you can download from my blog so that you can have it to refer to when you're in your own craft room making this project. These little snips will be obvious in a second. I love that the scor-pal has a score mat because I don't have to take it off my desk while I'm working. And now I need a pair of scissors, and I'm going to snip here. I'm going to snip here on this corner. I'm only making my snips on the long side of the box, of the paper. It's going to be a box. Okay. Now we're going to pre-fold everything. So I'm folding up the edges and the tabs. This will just make it easier to assemble. We're going to use hot glue just because it's quick, and I am shooting a video that I want to keep kind of short. Alright, now here, this is where I cut with the X-Acto knife, right here. This part is going to fold up, and then these sides are going to fold up. I'm making this really thick, nice paper, so it's a little bit trickier to fold. So see, then I've got these little tabs that I'm going to tuck in the back, and that's actually going to be the first glue that I make. So your paper should look like this. I'm going to flip it over, and these little tabs I'm going to glue in, and these are going to make the sections on my box. So I'm using my hot glue gun. Scor-tape would work really well, but this is faster. I use my hot glue gun a lot, especially with boxes, bags, die cuts, things like that, where I want to have a nice sturdy box. I'm gluing my little tabs in. That's all I'm doing on the bottom of the box, and you can refer to my template from my blog to have all the instructions handy for you. I'm going fast because I've only got 10 minutes to get this done to get it on YouTube. Okay, now if you look from the front, you can kind of see what we've done here. Now I'm going to glue these two pieces together. Actually, it would make a cute little clamshell type box if we didn't, but I'm going to put a nice bead of glue. This will make a nice rugged box. And I'm just going to, this is thick paper, so I'm not burning myself. Also, you'll see my glue gun is set on low. It's a dual temp glue gun. I like that because sometimes I need my high temp, but for general paper crafting, I just keep the low temp on. Now, if you have any little tabs sticking up from the bottom, simply grab your scissors and make a little snip. It's very easy. Well, that side looks alright. I'll remove all the strings, probably off camera. Alright, I'm folding up my tabs, and they're going to be glued to the inside of the box. only have to pinch it for a second and it grabs a hold, which is nice. If you're using pattern paper, you'd have to be careful because it's a little bit thinner and you wouldn't want to burn yourself. But for a box, you really should have a nice thick paper. The lid's going to be made out of pattern paper, but we're going to have a double fold on the edge, which will make it a little bit more sturdy. And you can use cardstock if you prefer for the lid. You might need to cut it a little bit larger just to account for the thickness of it, but it's really quite easy. Alright, so this is the tray, the bottom of our stationery box, and now we're going to go on and make the lid. I've cut this paper 9 1/4 inches by 8 3/4 inches, and again I'm going to score it an inch away from each edge, but I'm also going to score it a 1/2 inch away from each edge. So what I'm going to do, you got to hold your paper pretty firmly when you're doing a lot of multiple scores here. Probably one score is enough on this pattern paper. It looks a little awkward, but it's really very easy. It's much easier when I'm not doing it in front of the camera. Reaching in an awkward position, but I'm scoring it at 1 inch and 1/2 inch from each side. But I'm doing it on the first mark because it's not exactly a full 1/2 inch on the end the way I cut my paper. This will just make sure every edge is the same. Now we want to pre-fold again. First fold over your first inch, then fold your first 1/2 inch and fold over your second. Unfold it. Do it over here. Kind of like origami, you have to fold and unfold. But it will make it a lot easier when we get to gluing. By doing the double fold like that, we'll have a nice reveal so we can see a little bit of the cardstock on the box underneath, and it will make our lid a little sturdier. Now we need to make a couple little snips. I'm going to make a snip. Doesn't matter what 2 sides you pick. These will be the tabs that you glue on. Okay, so the ones that have the snips here, like that, you want to fold that right in half, and then fold up the little tabs. You can go ahead and do that on both sides. Alright, now we're going to glue them to these insides of these areas. That will just give us a nice strong hold. I'm going to lift up that edge and glue it down. You have to work pretty quickly because of the hot glue. And we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Now normally I wouldn't be rushing. I just have to for the time constraints of my YouTube videos. And now I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to glue that down. Try to get a nice sharp crease. Take your time with this step. You don't want to burn yourself and you want to keep a nice sharp crease. Oh, and also, that's a good idea. The sneaker roll, should have glued that down first. Yeah, before you start, you want to glue down that. So it's nice and strong. But as you can see, you can still sneak that glue in afterwards if you forget. Even though I did a prototype, I still forget steps along the way. Alright, so what I'm doing here, if you can see, I'm going to put a bead of glue right along in there. Remember, I have my low temp setting, so I'm not going to burn my fingers when I go to pinch these together. The high temp, you would definitely burn your fingers. Use scor-tape or some other double-sided tape if you do not have a low temp hot glue gun. I don't want everyone to go burning their fingers to make this stationery box. Okay, now we'll put these 2 pieces together and see how they look. And there we go. Ta-da! We have a lovely little stationery box.